Hello and welcome. Hey little baby, can I get you in the thing more? Yes, I can. Sylvie in the background. Okay, so hello and welcome to my monthly wrap up. So this is my wrap up for May. So let's get into it. In terms of life, it was a very social month, a lot going on. So you would have seen in the Melbourne Diaries, we had Greek Easter and I hosted this year. I also had multiple Mother's Days events. So I went to dinner with my ex-husband's mother. I took myself and my kids out to see Cirque du Soleil, which was absolutely amazing. I am in awe of those performers. That was my first time and I will definitely go back again to see future shows. I also took my mum and kids out to a high tea in Melbourne, which was a really fun day also. So there was just a lot of catching up with everybody. So my spoons are quite low, but it was very nourishing and enriching for my heart. Okay. Yeah, cats. Let's talk about media and all that sort of thing. So we've got TV. I didn't watch anything, no shows. I did watch one film and it was The Idea of You, which is a romance movie, I guess. So it's got Anne Hathaway, who is 40, and she has a child who's 24 years younger than her. And it's very similar to me. So I'm 39 almost, and my kid is 25 years younger than me. So I could relate in that way. And she ends up dating a 24-year-old. Could not relate in that way. It's a bit young. I get that sometimes, you know, chemistry is chemistry, but it was basically about the issues that brought up, mostly in regards to how it affected her teenage daughter. And look, the movie was fine. Anne Hathaway is smoking hot in it. Like, Jesus Christ, I hope. Absolutely stunning. There was definitely chemistry between her and the guy, so that was nice to watch. Look, the actor is actually, I think, like 28, so he's not actually 24. Yeah, look, the ending was a bit of a cop-out, bit silly. It's like, okay, sure guys, sure. I felt like at the end of the day, the damage was done, so you may as well be together and be happy. You know, you've got one life. But it was actually fine. It was entertaining. You know, it's nothing amazing, but it was entertaining. I did cringe a lot at the boy band singing scenes. They were a bit much. Oh, these cats, bro. But like I said, Anne Hathaway, stunning, especially, oh my God, in the red suit at the end. Amazing. On to books. So I did read, how many books did I read? I've got to check it out. I didn't read as much this month because I was going out so often. Okay, so I read 48 books this month. Out of those 48, I DNF'd 18. So I read 30 in full, 2 of them being audio. It wasn't a great reading month, I would say, but like I said, that's because busy. It was my mum's birthday as well, and my dad's birthday, my 2 Gemini parents. It was also my ex-in-law's birthday, so my ex-husband's parents are also both Geminis. So happy birthday to them as well. So I'd say out of all the books that I read this month, my favorite probably was actually The Hidden History of Flowers. I really enjoyed that. It's got beautiful botanical illustrations, and I just love me a book about flowers and their etymology and their traditional uses and medicinal and folklore and all that jazz. There's also a book about poetry about cats, which was also fun and made me laugh. It's just cats being a-holes and some pictures of kitties. So I didn't read any really fictional books that I would say were 5 stars. I'm pretty sure. Let me have a look. So hopefully I find one next month. Okay, music. There was quite a few songs that I heard this month and I really enjoyed. So we've got I Like the Way You Kiss Me by Artemis. It's a bit of a banger. It's a bit of a saucy one. I enjoyed that one. Then there was Make You Mine by Madison Beer. Once again, this was just really catchy. My daughter did tell me that all of the songs that I pretty much like this month, most of them are TikTok songs. I don't have TikTok. I'm like, okay, well, they're popular for a reason, hey. The next one is Too Sweet by Hozier. I love this one. I love Hozier, so this one was right up my alley, and I sing it all the time when I'm in the kitchen. And then YouTube recommended me a video. I think it's because they're probably thinking, hey, you like Tim Burton stuff, so here is a Sweeney Todd inspired video, and it's by Bleeder. It's called Bleeder by Black Veil Brides, and I'm like, yeah, that's a great video clip, so thank you for recommending that to me. So that was enjoyable. And those are all the songs. So like I said, there's quite a few songs I added to my like list on Spotify. In terms of cafes that I visited, Aura Cafe was my favorite. So they're also a restaurant at night. I think I'm going to take my kids there since it's a bit more low key, but give them a taste of the the restaurant life, but I also had my favorite meal of this month there, which was I think it was a beef brisket with potatoes and cornichons, and it was delicious. So those were my favorite culinary delights. In the garden, not much is happening. Just bought a whole bunch of bulbs, lots of bulbs, so lots of ranunculus and tulips. I wanted a lot of frilly tulips, but I didn't know how competitive the market was for frilly tulips. You have to get on those bulbs immediately because they were all sold out. It seems I slept on the frilly tulips, and all of the gardeners in Melbourne, they jump on those bulbs. So missed out on those, but I've got what I've got, and my ex-boyfriend's going to come and plant some more, so that will be nice. Unfortunately, the ranunculus that we had last year, they didn't reflower this year, so that's a sucky thing. You don't know what's going to come back and what's not going to come back. But it's pretty much just getting rid of all the leaves. That's the only thing that we're all doing now, is constantly raking up and getting rid of leaves, because they're all dropping in preparation for winter. June is here, so winter has come. Purchases. So I was gifted this beautiful shell necklace by my cousin. She is an absolute doll. So she found a shell and she put it on a necklace and she gave it to me. And little things like that I just absolutely treasure. Why am I so low? That's was it like that the whole time? I don't know, I'm sorry. Just a head. I wasn't looking at the camera. That's funny. Oh, was it you that did that? Did you bump it and move it? So that I treasured that. All the other purchases you've seen already in my Melbourne diaries, so there's no other ones besides those that have been shown. I bought a bunch of books though, actually, that you haven't seen, and they're for future vlogs on my reading channel. So I have been buying way more books than usual, but it's just, yeah, it's for theme vlogs. I also have bought one deck this month. So I purchased the Old Ways Magic Oracle. I saw it on, I feel like it's called The Hidden Grove. I'll link the channel down below. Who I saw it on. I didn't realize that the creator has re-released this deck with 50 cards instead of, I think it was 30 previously. And so I jumped on it immediately because I was enamored with the artwork, but I couldn't justify buying a UK deck, because UK decks, Australians not only get screwed on the shipping, we also get buggered with the conversion into pounds. It is not a good time. So I couldn't justify spending that amount of money on a 30 card deck, but 50 card deck, I'm like, I'm in. Celebim. So I got it. That's my purchase for this month. So obviously I'll get it next month, hopefully. UK stuff does take a while to come in. Besides that, so I'm still going on my new deck, and I'm done half of the cards now. I am going as fast as I can, and then I've got to do the guidebook, and that's the one that takes forever because I have to do them to fit the templates of the book. It's going to be laborious, but I'm actually really happy with it. So I've got Solus and Noctis, and now I've got one that I feel like is the perfect one for me anyway. I'm happy with the aesthetic that I've gone with, and this one I will be selling. I know a lot of people have inquired about Solus. Look, I might be able to do a thing where I put the cards up as an add-on. I don't know how Make Playing Cards works. I need to sneeze. I'll check it out, but if I can do just the cards as an add-on, because the guidebook will work with that as well. It's the same guidebook for all my decks, it's just different aesthetic. Then I'll do that. So if you prefer the Solus cards instead, but I think you have to list multiple listings in terms of having it with a box, up with the box, and not having it with the box, because the boxes, they bump up the price a lot. And I'm doing my best with the guidebook to try to get it down to as low number of pages as possible, because the more pages, once again, the more expensive that is. So I think that's why I did originally go with Game Crafter, because it kept the cost low, but the quality wasn't there and I had so many issues, whereas I know Make Playing Cards is fantastic in terms of their quality. But yes, we'll see how we go with this one. Hopefully it's not as headachy as it was with the other one. But I do foresee me finishing it by the end of June and having it up online probably July sometime. I obviously need to get the deck in myself first to make sure it's all good in the hood, but that is taking up a lot of my spare time. It's probably also why I didn't read as many books, because I've just been sitting at my desk just banging that out. But I think I might have to switch to some audiobooks just so I can keep my stories going. But that's everything. We're just going to head into the decks and the crochet portion of the month. Hello, so let's get into the deck and yarn portion of the video. So here we have the bag. This is in King Fiber in the color Paningo. So this was a 4-ply and I double yarned it and I did it in Suzette stitch, and I did a little pink glitter button because inside I have the Noble Moon Tarot. I'll just show you the box before I go into the thing. And I just did my nails and I've already smudged them. So we have the gigantic box. This is massive. It's a little hard to open because there's no, I'm not even going to open it because I'll fuck my nails up. There's no little thumb slots and it sits in there quite tight. So it's a big box. So let's take a look at the guidebook first. The guidebook is excellent quality. As you can see, it's a hardcover book. There's the end papers. It's on a matte paper. So we've got about the Noble Moon Tarot. So they talk about the collage and they talk about inclusivity and humanness and the guru within and the deck itself. And then it gets into the book. So you've got a full color image and then the title, a few key words, a bit about the card. You've got some associations. You've got gemstones, chakra, yoga, and a deity. And then you get an affirmation and then some kind of mostly magical practice I found. I'll go to the minor arcana so you can see it here. So this was fun. I do not recommend this as a beginner deck at all. I find that like the write-ups of the meanings are not great. So here, like for instance, for the Ace of Wands, it says, a wand blooming with flowers is held by a magical being floating on a pink cloud. 6 petals in the shape of Yod fall from the wand. They have burst to life in the form of a flower and now bring the gifts of vitality and vigor wherever they fall. And at least up the top, they've put fire, strength, power, sexual energy, vitality, the beginning of a new enterprise, which is like, yeah, it's kind of, but I don't think it's encompassing the full meaning of the card. I'll talk about more of it later, but like, look, this is a guidebook that I ended up not referencing while I played with the cards. I just read them intuitively with my own meaning. So here we have the back. So that's, I was trying to like get all the colors in the bag. I like the backs. It's pretty. I like the rose colored edging. I think that's nice. Mine's already scuffed up a little bit, so I don't know how much it'll hold up. Now the cardstock I'm not super impressed with. It feels like a very basic satin cardstock. So for an indie Kickstarter deck, I kind of do expect a bit more higher quality in terms of the cardstock. So yeah, I don't love it. In terms of the artwork, I do like it. It's got definitely has a pink theme running through it, and a lot of the people that are pictured, it's vintage photos that they've chosen. And very female centric. Oh, there's something that I have to actually bring up. I haven't read every single entry, but I read the 10 of Pentacles in here and it reads to me as a reversal, and tell me if you agree. Okay. It says finding stability boring or stifling, taking comfort for granted, blindness to the magic that is everywhere, family communication issues. A family stands in front of their home. They seem not to notice the good fortune they have received through the comfort, stability, and security that comes from their home. They've taken these blessings for granted and possibly even resent the boredom that has crept into their lives through this sense of stability. They are together, but they do not acknowledge each other. I'm not going to read more of it, but it feels like the reverse meaning, not the upright. 10 of Pentacles is a positive card for me, with, you know, about legacy and family and roots and ancestry and stability and luxury and success. So I was very shocked that that was the meaning. It was negative, and it doesn't say that that's a reversed meaning. So tell me if you agree with that. You don't believe that that's an upright meaning for the 10 of Pentacles. That's why, look, after I read that, and there was a few others that were the same vein, I was like, yeah, no, I'm not going to bother reading the guidebook. With this deck, I also find the write-ups are very deity focused. So it's heavy on the deity stuff, which I wasn't anticipating with this deck. I wasn't actually thinking it was going to be so much about other gods, but it was. Like I said, a lot of the card meanings were not so much the meanings of the cards, but about the god that they decided to associate with that card. So yeah, I didn't love, personally, the write-up in the guidebook for this particular deck, so I stopped using it. How do I feel about it? I'm a bit ambivalent, which sucks. I really thought I was going to love this. I even bought a yarn specifically to match the backs because I just didn't have anything that matched it, and I didn't want to just choose any yarn because I was excited. I was excited about it. I probably should have waited until I'd worked with it before I went and spent money on a new yarn, because I probably would have just used any yarn that I had. Yeah, I'm not in love with it. I did choose to pair it with the Threads of Fate Lumen edition, which I thought was a magnificent pairing. I wish I'd put it up here, but I can't bother getting it out now. So they paired very well together, very pretty, and at least the Lumen also added a bit more nuance to the reading, because as a reader for me also this was okay, but I didn't have any outstanding reads with it, and like I said, the connection wasn't really there for me. So I'm still going to keep this in my collection, but yeah, it's not a favorite. But this was the Noble Moon Tarot. Okay, so the next deck is in this bag, so I'll bring it up close. It's got a little sparkly button. So this is in Life in the Long Grass. This is in the color Connemara Marble, and I did Star Stitch for this one because I wanted to do something a little bit special. But I find Star Stitch doesn't give for the best uniform edges for some reason for me. I might need to work on it a little bit more. But so I tried to match the best yarn I had with these bags. I think it's pretty decent for not having to buy one specifically. I'm actually pretty happy with the color match. But yes, before I get ahead of myself, this is the Liminality Oracle by Amelia Leonards. This was a Kickstarter deck. This took a year to get to me. I think because I accidentally missed my order, but then they ended up expediting it and I got it. I think the box is beautiful. I absolutely love the quality of this. It is a matte finish. Oh, it's not rose petal. I'm pretty sure that's matte, but beautiful, beautiful box. And then we've got the guidebook. So this has a matte cover. It's bilingual. So half of the book is in English and half is in French. So there's not a lot of extra information. It pretty much just goes straight into the cards and their meaning. And I think these write-ups are fantastic. So you've got keywords, you've got a bit here that is almost a story-like description of what you see in the image and then about the card there. And it's not a huge amount, but they're fantastic. I really, really enjoyed reading the write-ups for this one. So yeah, that's the French side. So these are the backs. I really like the backs. I think they're very pretty. I love the gold bird foiling. So I edged mine because this didn't come edged, which is a shame, but I edged mine in a sort of very soft green, so it sort of matches the backs. Now the cardstock, it's fine. I don't love it. At least it's thick and it's got, this is what I would call a satin. It's that halfway between gloss and matte. So I don't love the cardstock, but it's not awful. It does shuffle well. But I don't know how it would hold up. I think if you riffled, they might bow or they might warp and they might not go back into shape. I've got a feeling that's what it's like with this one. So it's got the very thick title bit down the bottom and I don't love that. I feel like it's a bit too much, you know. But I do love the style now. At first I wasn't a huge fan, but it has grown on me. It is very pretty. And this deck has a lot more Fae energy than I thought it was going to. Like you can see there are Fae-like creatures in it, but it definitely has more of that feeling, but it's not trickster. It is otherworldly though. So this was a bit of a surprise deck for me. I did not think I was going to bond or attach to it as much as I did. This is pre-ordered last year when I was still on my deck accumulation frenzy. So I was just backing anything and everything. So when it came, I thought, oh, is this even for me? But then I read with it and it blew me away. It reminded me a lot of the Little Ghost Oracle, which Celia Melville produced herself. I think she helped bring this deck. Her name is also associated with this deck. I'm not sure what her part was to play with it, but it was the same thing where I underestimated the deck, but then the readings really hit. They really resonated. I thoroughly enjoyed them, and that was the case with this one. I thought, oh wow, there's more to you than meets the eye. But yeah, I really like it. That really shifts my perspective on a deck immensely. If it reads well, if it really reads well for me, I will love it more. It's just like with someone's beauty. If they're a really amazing person and you're fond of them, they become more beautiful in your eyes, and that's the way it is for this deck. But like I said, I can't believe I thought, oh, I don't know about the art style. I love the art style. I feel like all of these images could be the covers of fantasy novels. I think they are stunning. I like the watery feel of them because and it adds to that sort of, you know, whimsical, but also there's like a hidden depth, darkness to it as well. They're not I would call this like a light deck. It's definitely light and shadow. Same with the key topics. Some of them are a bit sort of darker or more shadowy. There is nudity in here too, which I did not remember seeing. So I was like, oh, hello, boobs. Great. Fantastic. I love it. Oh my gosh, and once again, I forgot to show you what I paired it with. I may as well do that now. So I actually paired this with 2 decks because I just really wanted to make it a very, very meaty reading, although this is definitely a deck that I can read on its own, no problem. So I did pair it with the Thistledown Oracle, and I paired it with the Journey Tarot. So I chose Thistledown. I'll take some cards off here because it has a lot of similar color palette to it. It's got a lot of the blues and browns. I feel like this deck mostly has those color themes interspersed with it. It's definitely a bit more of a moody kind of deck. But I also felt like the energy of the Journey Tarot also suited it. Like the energy of all of these decks are a bit mysterious and elusive. They're not incredibly direct. There's a bit of an enigma attached to both of them, and so I thought maybe they might all really play well together. But also, if I like these two, I struggle to use on their own. Bluebell. So I thought if I paired them all, that combined, I would definitely have an easier time understanding the messages within them, and that was the case for me. I absolutely love them all together. It almost also feels just like a entry into another realm. All of these decks, even though I guess this one is based on animals here, it still doesn't feel like Earth to me. It does feel like I've stepped into a storybook to another place. But it was just so fun working with these all together. I had an absolute blast. And I would say that out of all of the decks that I did work with this month, that these 3 combined was my favorite time. I looked forward to it the most out of all of them. So yeah, the Liminality Oracle is my favorite deck that I got in this month and that I worked with, and these 3 together was also my favorite pairings to play with. And it was good too because like Thistledown and Journey, like I previously said, I don't reach for them that often, even though I love the way that they look. It's just that they don't tend to read well for me, but however, altogether, it was fantastic. So that was a Liminality Oracle. Okay, the next deck. This is one that a lot of people kept asking, do you have it yet? Do you have it yet? Because I want to see it. Because it's an Australian made deck, so us Aussies get these decks in way quicker than the rest of you guys, which sucks for you guys, I'm sorry. So I had to say, no, I haven't got it in yet, even though I'd pre-ordered it. So it was a bit pricey for a pre-order. You don't really get any sort of discount, and the shipping for Rockpool decks too is expensive, even though I live in Australia. So it would have been much cheaper if I just waited until it was in stock and I gotten it from the shops. But this is a Seasons of the Witch Lammas Oracle. This is the box. The box is lovely. It's good quality. It's got the foiling, which is nice. So that's inside. I'm very surprised, though, that they went with green. I don't know. Personally, I don't feel like it suits, but that was their choice. So we've got the green this time with a very sort of yellowy green on the edging. The card stock is that glossy stock, which I'm not a fan of. I don't like it. But it is what it is. It's a mass market deck. So this is a guidebook, which is really well done. It's full color. Once again, they've killed it with all their spreads. So many spreads. The main themes for this one seem to be, I'll go to the page so you can see some of them. Abundance, blessing, cleansing, creativity. I felt like this one was a lot to do with your work and career, because you see that down here. In terms of looking at the spreads and the meanings of the cards. So like I said, lots of spreads, and I did them all. I didn't particularly love them though this time around. I don't know, the readings were odd, but I'll get to that in a second. The write-ups are fantastic. You've got the name of the card, the keywords, you've got a little quote there, and then the write-up, and they're fantastic. And some of them have extra things, like here you've got blending an essential oil blend, a self-forgiveness practice. So some of the entries have little activities that you can do as well. But this is a really great guidebook. I have not made a bag for it because I don't think I will. I'll just show you what I paired it with while I will go through it. So I decided to pair it with the Noisy Museum Tarot. I just really liked the aesthetics of it. So here is the deck. The biggest reason that I haven't made a bag is because I just don't think I'm going to reach for this a lot. I'm not even sure if I'm going to keep it. I don't have all of the decks, so I'm not in the collector mindset for these. I know most people see this series as one just to collect them all. You got to have them all. Whereas I didn't go that way. I jumped in when there was a deck that I was like, yeah, I'll get that one. I think it was Beltane was the first one I bought. I tend to go for the more warm weather solstices and Sabbats. So I skipped all the other ones. And then what else do I have? I got the one just before this, Letha, which is probably my favorite out of all of them and the one that I read the best with. And then we've got this one. So this one, yeah, I don't know. I just didn't connect to it. It feels dark and moody in terms of the aesthetics as well, which doesn't feel like Lummus to me in particular. But yeah, it's got a very dark and moody, which is why I also paired it with the Noisy Museum Tarot, because this is also dark and moody. There's a lot of gemstone cards in here as well, and I was pulling them mostly, and I'm like, well, that was annoying. I'm like, no, I've got 1,000 gemstone decks. Let's go to the ones that are more specific to Lummus. But yeah, I don't know with this one. It's only recently in my collection, so I haven't had a huge amount of time with it. I might just have to use it in a different way. I did do the spreads, but the spreads didn't really hit for me. And normally that's like a surefire way to bond with the deck, is to do the spreads that are mentioned in the book. But yeah, didn't love them either. So I think I just need more time. I don't know if I'd get rid of it though, because look, it is very pretty. I do like the art style. And it's good to have, you know, decks on hand that have a certain aesthetic. So if I get another deck in, it might pair really well with it. This is one of my favorite images out of all of them. But yeah, I just think I need a bit more time with it. I might have to use it in a different way than I tend to use my decks. But if you love all the others, you'll love this too. It's just, that's why I'm not collecting them either. They do tend to feel a bit same. And I'm like, well, how many of these decks do I need? So that's just a me thing. I think everyone else who is a collector of these will absolutely love this one. Probably just as much as the others. But yeah, for me, I'm just going to have to work with it a little bit more. It's not a love at first play situation. But this was the Seasons of the Witch Lummus Oracle. And the final deck that I got in this month is Phases and Forests Oracle deck by Catherine Riles. So this was a Kickstarter. This is in a lovely rose petal finish and it's signed on the back. I still have not checked out that. I'll do it quickly before I post this to see if it's any extra stuff or if it's pretty much the same as the booklet. I love the inside. I still don't feel like this super suits the deck though. Like, I know the backs are dark and moody, but the fronts are a bit different. So this is the booklet, rose petal finish, which is lovely, but it's very itty bitty, as you can see. So there's not a whole lot of extra in terms of the meanings. And after a while, I just stopped going to it. I just read whatever was on the card. Especially like the moon ones, really just have what's on the front of the card. So these are the backs, which I think are absolutely gorgeous. I love them. I think they're very, very beautiful. The edging is a dark, shimmery mahogany matte, which is nice. Once again, really enjoyable, but I'm surprised I went with the dark brown as the color theme. I'll show you what I paired it with. So I ended up pairing it with the Spacious Tarot because I wanted another deck that also had a very calming, gentle energy to it, because this deck definitely has that kind of earthy, damp soil kind of vibe going on. It's definitely a bit more of the quiet and introspective vibe. So I thought these two did work really well together. But as you can tell from the fact that I have not made a bag, I'm not absolutely in love with it. So look, I did previously have this creator's other deck. What's it called? Roots and Wings. And I ended up rehoming that. It just didn't work for me. I couldn't read with it. There was a real disconnect there, even though I love the art style. And it's the same with this deck. The art style is gorgeous. I think it is so, so, so beautiful. So the cards themselves are also on Rose Petal Finish, which is a nice one. It's a nice rose petal. I do like it. The cards are obviously a bit bigger than her other deck. I had the pocket edition though. I had the pocket edition, so maybe the original was also this size. But like you can see on the front of the card, you've got like the title, and then you've got the journal prompt or question underneath. And yeah, that's what this deck is. And I don't know, I struggled. Like even if you saw my day ahead reading with it on the walkthrough, that was probably one of the most like non-succinct, clear readings I've ever done. I struggled to form a narrative out of it based on what this card gave me. Like it's definitely not a deck that anchors a reading for me. I think it's more of a supplemental. I think this would probably just work well if you wanted to do a diary entry that day, journal about something. It can bring up an excellent topic that you can chew on and digest and draw out. On its own, I wouldn't use it at all. So yeah, for me, it's sitting in that sort of supplemental space. It is really pretty though. I thought straight away, am I going to rehome this like I did Roots and Wings? I don't think so. It is really pretty. And it's really great quality. It's not a deck that you get for the guidebook. I think that's probably a big thing that lets it down for me, is that there is a lack of depth in regards to the write-ups. So it is just more for the art and the little bit that you get here, and making that what you will. So yeah, I might have to reconsider like how I use it. I might just use it for journaling. I might just use it as like the question of the month, like at the start of each month, or on a full moon or on a new moon or something like that, to pull a card out, look at the imagery. Obviously all the moon ones are very similar, but the other ones have other elements in there. Or I could just use it as a final card for a reading and place it on top and see how that works. But like I said, I did love these two together. I thought it was very beautiful, but on its own, it was a bit meh for me. But like I said, together, it was lovely. It was very peaceful and calming and gentle. So we'll see how we go with this one. I'm probably just going to put it aside for now. I might bring it back out a little later. For me, it feels a bit more like an autumnal deck. It could be wintry, I guess, as well. So maybe it's a transitional, and we are in that transitional period in Australia, going from autumn into winter. But I think I might just put it aside for now and bring it back out later on, because I've just still got too many new decks coming in. You know, I want to be excited to use it. So maybe once I've let it lie dormant, I'll be like, all right, hello again, old friend. Let's see how you are now that you've been sitting quietly. Let's get a new, fresh perspective on you, rather than having come on the tail end of a whole bunch of decks and then feeling like it's the least interesting. Because, like, you know, maybe in its own space, it will actually be rather captivating for me. But look, I'm not upset that I got it. I still think, like I said, the quality is fantastic. And I really do like the art style. It does speak to me, and I think it is very, very pretty. So yeah, this was the final deck that I got in this period, and these were all the decks that I got in this month. I've still got, for I don't know, 10 pre-orders from last year to come in, and then it's definitely going to slow down because I am still very low buy now, and I don't see that changing. I just feel like I have so many great, wonderful decks that I don't feel the need to add for the sake of adding. And I'm also trying to cut back on that expenditure, because I'm, as you probably see from my vlogs, going out more often, going to cafes, and you need money for that. So I will enjoy what I've got, which is why I'm not rehoming it. So this was everything for the month of May. Until next time, stay wild, Star Child.